Gucci? Okay, I think we're Gucci. Alright, so first of all, we have ls, which is obviously just the, you know, usual stuff. We have touch and Diddy. I'm just gonna make a text file by the name of Diddy. So that way I have Diddy right here. So I'm just gonna do something like, for example, 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to, what the heck? Okay, I think I can do something like this. There we go. So now that I have this, okay, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to say gedit, and I'm going to do diddy.txt. Now this should open diddy.txt. Okay, so it's the same concept for even, so let's say testing 1 2 3. I save this file, if I close this, and if I just do, for example, cat and diddy.txt, I just print this out. And if I want to append, I think I can do nano, and I can do diddy dot I'm awesome, and let's say diddy or append to diddy.txt. So I think this should work like this. Let's see. Is it? It crashed. Okay. So what I can do instead is I can try paste in this, and I can just do, I think it was cat. No, I think it was should be nano, isn't it? I'm not too sure. But if I just do cat diddy.txt, okay, so I'm just gonna do testing 1 2 3 and clear diddy dot. Yeah, but why does it do this, right? So I'm not too sure why it does that. But as far as this is the directory, as you guys can see. So we have all the directories right here. Apart from that, let's try something more interesting. For example, I can do co, and you can try the webback URLs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and try this on something else. For instance, I'm going to try x.com. Seems like, okay, webback URLs is not found. Okay, that's fine. I can use my normal terminal. So in that case, I will use my normal display, and I will in fact use normal Ubuntu, and I'm going to go for echo x.com and wayback URLs. So once I do this, I should be able to get all the subdirectories, as you guys can see right here. Apart from that, we can just do nmap, and we can scan for the top 1,000 ports on this website. So for example, we have if I look for, I could go for maybe like an nmap on forexfactory.com. So I can just do nmap and top ports, top 1,000 ports, and let's just do forexfactory.com, and now it should scan for the top 1,000 ports. And as you can see, this is the port number 1,000 is open, so obviously it's filtered, right? So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use Twitter. You know what? Let's just do forexfactory.com. Okay. In this case, it's going to be much easier because again, it's filtered, but I can just do something like the Hydra, and Hydra, I can use this with the port number to correct that. So for example, I can just say forexfactory.com/ and this needs to be the username, and this needs to be a password list. So obviously I don't have this file, right? So if I just do ls, as you can see, I don't really have this file, so I'm just going to create this file called passlist.txt, and now I should have it, as you guys can see right here. So let's just say gedit passlist.txt. Okay, I can't display it. Okay, so that's fine. Let's just say nano passlist.txt. Hello there. This is a test. The passwords. If I save this, if I exit, I can just do cat passlist.txt, and boom, just like that, we have it right here. Okay, so apart from this, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to use the subfinder. So obviously if you do web and forexfactory.com, I can find information about this website. So as you can see, we have a 301 status code, and it's looking for the real forexfactory.com. So obviously what I'm referring to over here is not the right one. So now we have the real one over here, as you can see. Okay, so obviously we have some data about this. Cloudflare, so that's what we're hosting this on. And we have the US, and it's on jQuery, I believe. Apart from that, we have a few different things. So obviously this is the title, and yeah, it doesn't seem like we're looking for a lot of data here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Wapalizer. So I will use Wapalizer, and as you can see, we have some analytics and stuff. So it's using Vue.js. So if I can find some sort of exploit, Axios, and a few different things. So obviously it's using Vue.js, as you guys can see. So I can get an export of this right here, just like that, and boom, just like that. Okay, so trade's going pretty decent. Okay, there we go. All right, so next, what I'm gonna look for is I'm going to look for so now that I have this, I will look for the commands. So I will look for cyber commands, and okay, so we have okay, so obviously we have NC, which is netcat, and if we're listening on a specific port number, for example, if I do rxfactory.com, see what it gives. Okay, so it says missing port number, so obviously that's fair, because you know you need to give it the port number as well. So now it's going to try to have a binding type of attack right here, as you can see. So this is the first scan, and it's connecting to port number 1000. So it doesn't seem like we're getting anything back yet, but yeah, it seems like it's trying to sort of reach this computer. And apart from that, we have Massive Console, which is the Metasploit framework, obviously. And yeah, so apart from that, we have Massive Console. So if I just use a Massive Console, I can use the Metasploit framework console. And I can also use Burp Suite, and I can use intruder detection with this. I'm going to try a few different things here. So SSH, which is super secure host, right? And this is the username and the IP to log into whatever it is. And yeah, so let's go one by one on all these different things. And this is a Hydra, obviously. So when you give it a username and a password with the super secure host and or FTP, file transfer protocol, you can get in, right? Just like that. So as you can see, this is the file to send. So using Netcat, you can send it, right? So as you can see, we have this, right? So I can use let's say for example, so yeah, you can use I think you can use Hydra and then Netcat. So with Hydra you connect, with Netcat you send the file across. So for instance, if I can connect to another computer with the username and the password list, if I can connect to the other computer, I can then send files using Netcat, file transfer protocol, right? So once that is done, I guess secure shell. So that's what this stands for, SSH. And SMB client Nikto. A Nikto, I believe, can be used in a specific manner. So let's just say Nikto h, and these are the commands I can use that with. So let's say, for example, Nikto tb check, and I can just do forexfactory.com. Doesn't seem like it. Okay. Interesting. What about Instagram.com? It's the same stuff over and over again, I think. Content search. Interesting. So is that, I guess that's part of yeah, no, this is like the default, I'm pretty sure. Config plus doesn't quite seem like there's anything here. So we can change the modification, obviously. We do chmod. Seems like something's missing here. So if I can just do okay. So Nessus is one of those softwares. Netcat once again. Search exploit, not too sure what this does. Missive console, search. Okay. Missive console. Okay, I've opened the missive console here. So if I can just do search trans to open, if I can paste this here, paste clipboard, I'm going to go for intruder and intercept. If I can paste this. Okay. So now that I have these, I can just pretty much go for a... Okay, so as you can see, we have a few different things over here. Okay, so it seems like, what is this? So we got just one cookie. So I don't think we could do a lot with this, to be honest. But yeah, apart from that, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to use... Okay, so what's the next command? Set our hosts. So let's say, for example, okay, so free.com. Okay, so we have this, but I need the IPs as well. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna open scan for ports. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna scan for IPs instead, right? How do I do that? How do I scan for IPs? If I can just use Katana. I can't use Katana? It's crazy. Okay. Anyways, so it seems like SMB client, which is I think server message. I'm not too sure what this stands for, but as far as super secure host and DPKJ, which is basically installations of packages, so it's not really important. So FTP, which is a file transfer protocol, so you can transfer files from one computer to another one. Dirbuster. So Dirb is hmm. Let's see if okay. Let me try something here. Okay, so it seems like interesting. What if I save it specifically to let me just make a file. Say dirbuster test dot txt. Okay, so now that we have this file, say dirbuster test dot txt. So that way it will sort of save onto this file. Okay, so let's see cat master text test for .txt. Okay, so it seems like base. Okay, so this is the word list files. So let's say, for example, I copy this, gedit or that. Okay, so it seems like we got a bunch of different, not too sure what this does. These are like random words, isn't it? But it's not just random. I'm pretty sure there should be some sort of correlation with it. What did I run? Derp, right? What is derp? What does derp do? Mm-hmm. It takes a word list of possible in, okay? Okay, so it's basically like subpaths, isn't it? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Cool. Missive Venom. Not too sure what Missive Venom does. Okay, interesting. This is pretty good. Look at that. Alright. Missive Venom. No, what this... I have no idea what this really does. But as far as like I'm concerned, I think it's like a cert util. I think cert util is like cert util. Okay. What does this do? Interesting. Okay, anyways. As far as the NS recon. Interesting. Um there's like IPs and stuff. You can get IPs from one of these. Not too sure which one it was, but you can get like IPs and stuff from this. I think if you use nmap A and then top ports 1000 foxfactory.com. What else? Let me try. All right, top ports. I'm pretty sure it's like okay, okay. Map top ports 1000 foxfactory.com, and that should do the job. Right. Okay. So this is okay. So now if I try and if I use sublister. Oh, right. My bad. Okay. Okay, so I can. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So seems pretty cool. FFUF. I'm not too sure what this does. Text file path. So I guess I'm assuming it. You can like write to something. Not too sure. Okay. Cool. Okay. So as far as I can see, there's no way it's just this. What? Okay. I guess it is this. Interesting. Um, what's happening here? Okay, I guess I'm not too sure what happened, but if I try port 80, I got the thing wrong technically because I was supposed to use okay. Up. It's just this. Okay, cool. Mm, Not working for some reason. I just need to get in and then I need to make sure let me try the base. I'm gonna try the base and then if I can't connect to that, what I'm gonna do next is probably look for, where is it? Port, this port number. But if I can't connect to that, I think what I'm gonna do instead is probably so chmod for installations, Nessus obviously. So Nessus, nope, nothing here. Nessus is Nessus, where is it? Nessus NC is fine. Search exploit Samba 2.2, I'm not too sure about this. Missive console is fine. AR hosts is obviously fine as well. Durbuster. So I think Durbuster, if I can give it like a URL. What's all this? I'm not too sure what all this is, but as far as interesting. Hmm. What? Okay. Let's see. Anyways, seems like these are the API endpoints. That's kind of obvious. But apart from that, we have what the hex is, right? And apart from that, I don't think I can do much with these though. Should look into it. Apart from that, I think the buster. So obviously I tried using that and response 3, which is detecting where I'm from, and so these are the API endpoints. So I think what's WSS? Just WSS stand for. Okay. Hmm. What's this? Okay, I guess it's very similar. Okay, that's interesting. Hmm. Okay. Cool. If the slot is disabled. Hmm. So I want to do like a what do you call those things? What do you call those things? I guess these are the paths. So I'm assuming what loads up when you search up for the website itself is actually the index.php, isn't it? So if I do /news, I think that's /news. Yeah, okay, so that's this file. This is market. And what's this? Resources. Okay. Up, we have the access to the paths. So let's see if calendar. Okay, these are all boom. But I don't think we have full access though. So we have to do a few more things. But my trade's running pretty well, so that's pretty good. But my cyber is not running well. Let's see. Okay, cool. Almost 35 bucks up on this trade on GBP JPY. Okay, so traders is /traders. Cool. So these are like usual routes. So it's nothing crazy, right? It's nothing crazy. But what? Flex.php. Let's try flex.php. Okay, I guess this is some like random ass guy. This is the heat indicator. Interesting. Okay, I don't know what that is. But as far as intrusion, so I'm going to keep the intercept turned on. I'm going to try Forex Factory once again. And let's go to Google. So obviously it's going to look for, going to turn off intercept. I'm going to try forexfactory.com/brokers. Okay. Cool. This is the IP. So if I'm trying something, I could use this IP address. Okay. Cool. That's pretty good. It's a fire trait. Look at that. Mid scope. Cool. Okay. Okay. Yep. So this is the IP, and you can use this with obviously top ports 1000 and okay, so we have these ports obviously, and I can use these ports with what you call this? First I can use Hydra to try and connect. So I can say user and password, and let's say for example the IP slash port 80. That seems like, oh, forgot. Cool. See if that works. Okay. I don't know what this does, but seems pretty cool. Let me try obviously, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. If I just do like without a username and a password, let's try. Okay, cool, cool. Okay. These are the ports that are open, so I could try all of these, right? So it says it's obviously open right here, as you can see. So what else? These are the sub paths I'm seeing right here. Doesn't seem like GoBuster. I could use GoBuster as well, right? GoBuster uses directories. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so if you're giving it a URL, I'm pretty sure you should do like GoBuster directory, forexfactory.com, and yeah. Oh, fuck. GoBuster URL, factory.com. Fix this. Okay. I mean, I do have it installed, but okay. So you're supposed to write. Okay, 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 okay. So let's say, for example, I had. You know what? Give me a second. I'm gonna try something here. Cat buster.txt. No, touch buster.txt. So now I'm going to try the same thing. Go buster. So I'm gonna try this on copy. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna try obviously it's a directory, so I'm going to use directory, and let's say for example buster.txt. Let's use this. It's giving a 404. So that's pretty bad. Um why? Interesting. Please exclude the status code or the length. Interesting. Cool. What? I don't know why this keeps happening, but that's great, I guess. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. That pounds on euro if ECB offers dovish guidance. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Well, here's US gross domestic product, fourth quarter and year 2024. US unemployment insurance weekly claims report. What's up with this? Okay, cool. Anyways, that's not related to what I'm doing right now at this specific moment. So let's just leave it on the side for now. And apart from that, so what's up? Why's my VM not working? It's not, I swear to God, it's like it's frozen. Can't expand these folders. Yeah, it's frozen for some reason. Okay, cool. It's interesting. Um, secure shell. So obviously I need an SSH and cool. X factory. Okay. Go Buster. Not that bad. Mm-mm-mm. TCP, okay. I'm just gonna use Wireshark. Try using this bullshit. Fuck's sake, man. What's happening here? Transmission control protocol. Interesting. Okay. Up, this is not working. So that's pretty ass, I guess. Anyways. There's 65,535 ports. So obviously, as far as I'm gonna do something, right? Oh, sorry. It's on the same computer, but it's just okay, so these are the open ports, obviously. And I can try, so this is the service as well, right? I can try something like, so these are the open ports, so that I know that for a fact. So I'm gonna try using 135, so 35. Doesn't seem like there's anything here. 139, nothing. 440, 445. Okay. And I tried 8080. I don't think I can find it. They're all on TCP, so should be detected, but for some reason it didn't detect it, so again. As far as data, I think if I just do like, I don't know. Cool. TCP payload. Um oh, it's obviously encrypted, so that's what I can see here. Can I? Because I can sniff if I have access to this. So it's obviously he's using the transmission control protocol and he's using data. So I don't see data here. So what I'm gonna do instead is probably um, interesting. What does we mean? Okay, ARP ping scan. Cool. I read through this properly. I think it's okay, so cool. Okay. Cool. Okay.
If you see a 192.168 address, you can guarantee yourself that that is a private IP address space. And then we have the range of changing this number between 0 and 255 and this number between 0 and 255. Why 0 to 255? Well, that'll all make sense when we get into subnetting. But what that allows us to do is have a large number of networks here and a small amount of hosts. But for a regular user like you or I, or a small business, 254 hosts is pretty good. I mean, I'm only using like 20 in my household. So the most common household is probably using this 192 address. But what about a big business, right? Something huge. Okay, well, they might use a 10 address, because a 10 address frees you up to anything after this 10 is private. So 10.1, 10.1.1.1, whatever you want to put in here, up to 255 on each octet. Makes for a small amount of networks, but a large amount of hosts. Okay, and don't worry about the host versus network thing. Again, subnetting, we'll talk about that. It'll all make sense. But just imagine the amount of hosts that you can put in here with this wide range. So because of this, you'll see large 6. It has 6 different, in the later versions of Windows, they put on 445. You're going to see these ports a lot. This is probably the most common port you're going to see as a pen tester. These relate to file shares. You might also hear this called Samba. So there are a few names for it, but when you think of SMB and you see 139 or 445, think of file shares. And as a pen tester perspective, you got to think about all the crazy exploits we've had regarding SMB. The most recent one, as of this course, was the WannaCry virus, right? So you had the WannaCry virus. It's also known as Eternal Blue, was what it was built off of, or MS17010 was the official term of that exploit. That exploit utilized an SMB exploit to navigate through networks. So it became very vicious very quick because SMB is open so frequently on networks. Now, on the UDP side, we also have DNS over here. DNS is both ATCP and UDP protocol. We also have DHCP. Now, when it comes to IP addresses, DHCP associates you with an IP address kind of at random. Now, you can have the opposite of that is what is a static IP address. So with DHCP, you plug into your network, say your home network, and the internet just fires up. Guess what? Probably DHCP on the back end. It just picks a number between a range, says, hey, here's your IP address. I'm going to let you lease that out for 8 hours or a day or a week or however long the timing is set for, and that IP address is yours. Now, the opposite of that, again, is static. So you could say, hey, I want a static IP address. And anytime I plug in with this specific computer, go ahead and give it this IP address. So how are we going to know that? Most likely the MAC address, right? So from layer 2, it's going to know layer 3 and how to assign it. So again, DHCP should be pretty familiar to you. We've also got TFTP on port 69, which is the trivial FTP, and it utilizes UDP instead of TCP. And we also have SNMP, which is the Simple Network Management Protocol. So you will encounter SNMP occasionally on networks, not always, but when we do encounter it, there may be some information to be gathered, especially if there are strings being used that are community or public strings. And we'll worry about that when we encounter it, but you'll probably see it again in this course. So that is it in this video. We're going to go ahead and move on to the OSI model and tie all this together. Then we'll get into a little bit of subnetting, and we'll end this with a refresher on networking, a final video on networking. So I'll see you over in the next video. All right, so this whole time we've been talking about networking, and I've been throwing terms at you, and every time I throw a term at you, I try to use the respective layer for it. So you've heard me say layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and those all correspond with what is called the OSI model. Now, if you're ever in a network interview, or if you're ever talking to somebody who has experience in networking, or even if you're on the help desk or taking tickets, knowing the OSI model is incredibly helpful, and people will just throw layers at you, especially the people who have been in the field for quite some time, might just say layer 2 instead of a switch, or they might say layer 3 instead of a router. So I'm going to discuss the OSI model really quickly, give you a mnemonic on how to remember it, and just talk about some of the concepts within it and how to troubleshoot down it as well. So I picked this up from Keith Parker a long time ago. Great trainer, by the way. And this is the mnemonic. So we're going to go PDNTSPA. And this stands in my head for please do not throw sausage pizza away. Again, that is please do not throw sausage pizza away. So I'm going to put numbers corresponding to the layers in front of it here. And we're going to go ahead and type these out one by one. So on the first layer here, we've got what is called the physical layer. And you can think of your physical layer as like data cables or like your Cat6 cables, stuff like that. Something you might plug in, right? That is the physical layer. And we've already talked about layer 2 quite a bit. Layer 2 is the data layer, and that is our switching, right? And also our MAC addresses. Going down the list, we've got the network layer, which is IP addresses. Also routing, The fourth layer is the transport layer, which is TCP, UDP, which we have talked about as well. And the last few, so the session layer, we've got the session layer, which is just session management. You don't really have to worry too much about this one. 6 is the presentation layer. Now, this should be familiar to you because think about WMV, JPEG, movie files. That's what your presentation layer is, so media. And then lastly, we've got the application layer, which is like HTTP, SMTP, your applications that you utilize, right? So we've got this laid out here. And you might be asking, why is this important? Well, again, when we say something like, my home router is a layer 2, 3, so that means it does switching and it does routing, right?
Right.
You might think of this in another way as well. You might be asked to troubleshoot. And something to talk about too with the OSI model is when we receive data down this physical layer all the way down to the application. When we transmit data, it goes out the application layer down to the physical. When we're troubleshooting this, it's always best to start with the physical and go down to the application level. Okay, so say you get your working help desk and you get a phone call and somebody says, my internet's not working, help me. Well, what's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to ask them application level questions? Yeah, probably not. You might say, hey, can you look at the back of the computer? Do you see the cable plugged in? Oh, the cable's plugged in. Okay, well, do you see the where the cable's plugged in? Is there a blinking light? Is that blinking like green by chance? Okay, we're checking the NIC, right? And then we might ask them to, do they have an IP address? What's going on? All the way down. And then we troubleshoot all the way down to layer 7. So we wouldn't start on layer 7, right? We would start from the basics and move down.
Right.
So it's important to know this. This isn't a help desk course by any means, but it's super important to know this, especially if it's been a while since you've seen this network stuff, or even if this is new to you, that the OSI model is commonly referred to. Even as a pen tester, I get all kinds of layer 2, layer 3 talk, and you will be sitting in meetings with network engineers, with people who are very, very smart about this stuff, and they're going to throw all this lingo at you. So if you know this lingo, really, really benefits you, or else you're just going to sit there and wonder what the heck they're talking about. So hopefully this is a quick, informative method for you. And again, remember, please do not throw sausage pizza away. That's the easiest way that I remember it. You can make up your own mnemonics if you want. People have other things as well. If you got a favorite mnemonic, please feel free to comment down below and tell me your mnemonic as well. So I'd love to hear some of these other ones. So let's go ahead and move on into subnetting, and then we'll start moving into other fun parts of the course. Let's talk about subnetting. So subnetting is important in networking. You hear about it all the time. You hear even people perhaps freaking out. I know I freaked out when I heard that I had to do it for exams like Network Plus or CCNA. And I feel like there are a lot of complicated methods out there for subnetting, but there was a method that was shown to me middle of my career, and it just blew my mind. It's really, really fast subnetting method. And I really want to break down for you what subnetting is, why we do it, and then show you the methodology behind it. So if we want to talk about subnetting, if we just come in here and just do an ifconfig, and we look at our IP address, right? We have our inet, which is our IPv4. And you can see here too, we have this net mask. This is also known as a subnet mask or a subnet. And it just says 255.255.255.0. Doesn't really tell us a lot if we don't know much about it, but this is what a subnet looks like. And we can think of subnets in ones and zeros. It's all bits, right? So we've got 8 bits here, just like an IP address, IPv4, same thing. 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, and another 8 bits. And we've got ones and zeros. If all the ones are switched on, we've got 255. If none of the ones are switched on, we've got 0. And depending on how those ones and zeros are switched on or off, determines a lot of things for us. And that's why this net mask is important. Now, attached to your resources for this course, I've created an Excel sheet that I think will be useful. So if we look at the Excel sheet, here is the CyberMentor's subnetting sheet. And let's talk through this. It looks like a bunch of numbers and it might look crazy for you. And we're going to talk about how this breaks down, how the bits break down, and then how I would write this shorthanded for an exam or test or just something that I do on a day-to-day basis. So first, let's talk about the bits. So come to the bits tab here, and we have our 8 bits, right? We can count this across, and there's 8 here on the count. You can see that. And it starts with 128 and descends down to 1. You just keep cutting it in half, right? So 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, whatever.
Right.
What's more important is why we get to these numbers. So if we have a 1 switched on here, it adds to the value. When all the ones are switched on, it equals to 255. You see all the ones switched on here. If we were to highlight over all this, come down to the sum, you see the sum is 255. That's all this formula is doing here. So if we were to come through and you see all the zeros here, nothing's flipped on to actually turn any value on here. How this actually works is the switch has to be on in order, right? So if we were to switch on another bit, we'd have to switch it on here. And we'd have to switch another one on here. We couldn't just come down here and switch it on here. It wouldn't make sense. It doesn't work that way, not with subnetting. So we're going to take these back off and show zeros again. But you see how the values change. If, for example, we had this network and you saw the default, and I'm showing you the 255.255.255.0, the standard here, because that is what's known as a /24 network. That's very, very common. And it's very common because it's used mostly in household and small businesses. And it's done
Okay. My bad. Okay, cool.
done this way because of the amount of hosts that it allows. Now, if we talk about the host, you can see that I have here 2 to the 8th power. Why do I have that? Well, we actually go by how many bits are switched off or how many hosts are available to us. So if a host here or a bit was switched on, then we lose the amount of hosts we have available to us, and the subnet gets smaller and smaller. Now, don't worry too much about the ones and zeros. It's going to make a lot more sense when we stop talking in these binary terms. I just kind of want to break down the math behind it first before we make it really, really simplistic. So again, we're talking about what's called the /24 or WAC24 network, and it's so standard because of the host. Again, 256. Think of all the devices in your house. You have cell phones. You probably have computers. You might have like a Roku or Amazon Fire or something along those lines. You might have smart TVs or smart watches or something that connects to the internet. Well, again, they're all connecting through NAT, right, and going out, but the amount of hosts that you can have on your private network really depends on the subnet mask and how you set it. So we have this class C that you saw before, the 192.168.1 or .0 or however you want to have it, right? Well, it allows us to have 256 when we have a subnet of /24. So that's very common for a household. It's also common for a small business. Maybe there's a printer, some few devices in there, but they're never going to get over this 256 hosts. Okay. So when we come to the subnet cheat sheet, let's break this down a little bit differently. So we have our host here. Let's start with the /24 we just were. And you saw that there is 256 available hosts. As we start turning off bits, Okay, we turn off a bit here, we turn off a bit, keep going down the list. The hosts start getting bigger, and that just corresponds here. We have a slash 24, and the only reason I'm saying 24 is I'm counting the ones across, right? So we got 24 bits switched on. If we had 23, okay, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, let's stay away from the ones and zeros. I think it's a little bit complicated. The better way to think about this is to look at the subnet mask down here, and I'm going to replicate this, and then we're going to come back to it. So what I do here is we can have a possibility of 32 bits switched on, right? So I'm just making a new tab, and I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to hit Control and drag this across until it hits 8. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with 9. I'm going to drag it across. All I'm doing is just making, really quickly, 32 placeholders. And I'm just emulating here if we had the possibility of 32 different switched on bits. So imagine one bit is switched on, imagine all 32 bits are switched on. That's the possibilities here, right? So always, for sure, we're going to have an amount of hosts, and we're going to have a subnet mask, okay? So we'll just call it subnet there. We always start here with 128, just like the bits that you saw. You saw the 128 start on the bits. Let's just start also with 128. Now, as you saw, every bit that's switched on, remember when we switch a bit on over here, it starts decreasing. So we're going to decrease for the bits that are switched on. 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. You come over here, and what I like to actually do is I like to just add these numbers together, and you can see 128 and 64 is 192, and then you can add these two together. So you get 192, 32. You just add diagonally is the way I actually always do it. So 224, 240, 248, 252, 254, and 255. Now, what does that correspond to? It corresponds to the possibilities of the bits being flipped on, right? So this looks just like what you see here. Same deal. And if you had a 1 underneath of it, okay, then you got 128. If you've got another 1 underneath of it, well, guess what? You've got 128 plus 64, which is 192. And this number keeps growing. Why is this important? This is still all ones and zeros, right? Well, let's start thinking about it. If we have a slash 24 network, we've got 24 bits turned on. Our subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. If we had a slash 16, it becomes 255.255.0.0. Why? Where are these changes coming from? Let me show you this. Okay, for a slash 8. I'm just tying this into just this right here. Well, this is coming from the number of bits that are turned on. 8 bits turned on, we've got 255 and the rest are zeros. You got another 8 bits turned on, 255, 255, the rest are zeros. Come down to the slash 24, which is that really common subnet that you see, and you've got 255, 255, 255, 0. Now this is very common, okay? Let's go back to the cheat sheet now. And you can see that I've got X as a placeholder in the subnet. So what I'm saying here is you look at this list and you say, I've got a slash 1. Well, for this whole area here from 1 to 8, the placeholder is going to hold in place of this X. So for a slash 1, if I've got 128, then guess what? It's going to become 128.0.0.0, because that's how it would be. And if you turned on just one bit here and made all of these zeros, guess what? Just the 128 would be on, the rest would be zeros. Okay, if we had a slash 14, okay, so 255's automatically flipped on. You have a slash 8 already, you passed through it. Okay, so you're starting on the second iteration here. Slash 14 corresponds down here to 252. So you have a 255.252.0.0. So all this is placeholders. Let's go back to the sheet here. So I make this quick and dirty list. This is what I write out when I'm just writing out something quick for an exam. I'll write out 1 through 32. I'll put the host here, and I'll put the subnet here. So again, if we know that once we cross through 8, 16, 24, 32, that has a 255 in front of it, all we've got to do then is we'll say slash 27. Well, we've come through 3 columns. Then I know for sure that we've got 255.255.255. something, right? You see the slash 27, you come down here, the subnet would be 224. Say 28. Okay, right. 255, 255, 255. Look at the 28. Cool. You got a dot 240. And this is going to be confusing. Subnetting is not necessarily easy. Once you get the chart down, it makes a lot more sense. So let's start piecing some more things together. When I say that I've got host, now the host I'm showing you only correspond to these first rows, but it's very common or very useful just to know this number right off the bat. Now, if you look at the cheat sheet, what you can do here is you just know that you start with a 1 or you start with the 128 and you go down, but every time you go up, you're doubling. And why are we doubling? Do you remember from the bits part? Every time a bit is turned off. So as we go up a number, we take it to the next power. So we've got 8 bits turned off. We take 2 to the 8th power. It's 256. Well, here you go. Look. Come through here, 256. We go to the 9th power, 512, to the 10th power, 1024. It just keeps doubling, okay? That's all you gotta think about in your mind, is it keeps doubling. So on an exam, for example, you might have something like, how many hosts could be potentially in a slash 20 network? And you come to your cheat sheet that you made or you have in your head and you say, well, 496, and then we'll get to this in a minute, but we have to subtract 2. So 494 potential. And why is this all important? Why do we even care about any of this? Why am I rambling on? Well, you need to know based on the network. Okay, the slash 24 is great for a small office, home network, however you want to have it. And we'll give it one more. Works here with just in. So I don't know if you caught that, but there's no R.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting, but I feel like I'm missing a few things here. Because I feel like there's a little bit more than just these. So... this is frozen.
So the best way I like here, so let's go back to John here. It's useful too in penetration testing because you can look.
Yep, so... Interesting. Okay. Okay. press U, and who am I? I'm root? What? I think it was SU root, and that should be root. I'm assuming it's root. Not too sure. Might get an okay. That's fine. But I did use Kali. Like I used Kali over here, and for some reason it's not working. So if I just do who am I, it's root. If I just do Kali, it's Kali. Yeah. Who SU? No, SU root. Kali. Let's see if that works. What? But if I use this, then I can just log in. I don't know. Anyways, it's not working for some reason. We're just Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, yep. Mm, okay. PWD? What does PWD do? It's like the directory? I'm not too sure what it does, but okay. So if I just do okay, cool.
Without navigating to it, we can just type ls etsy, and you can see
Okay. That's interesting, I guess.
everything that's in here. So there's some.
Yep. Okay, so if I can sort of skip through all this and try to okay, echo. Oh, okay, it's echo. Alright, so if I just do ls uh, ls, so if I just do catbuster.txt, doesn't seem like anything is in here. So if I just do I am awesome, and if I just do buster.txt, now if I do catbuster.txt, there we go. So if I just do one, that should be like, and if I do this and do this again, and let's do 1, 2, 3. If I do this again, okay. But if I do it twice, then I can have an append, isn't it? Okay, cool. That's interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. IW config, w config, and route, I'm assuming. It's route. And cool. Interesting. Mousepad. So I'm assuming mousepad is like one of those if I just do a normal terminal. If I cat. I feel like mousepad kitty.txt. Okay, so I have no idea why it looks like this. If I just do cat ditty.txt, it's testing.123. If I do mousepad, it looks a little weird, right? So I don't think it's gonna look pretty good on mousepad, to be honest. Looks a little weird, and I don't think it's gonna, fix itself. Okay. So, okay, cool. That's fire. Cool. NC, okay. So we're using the host over here, and we're also using the port number over here. And yeah, okay, that's basics. Yeah, I mean, this is like basic stuff, like finding out people's addresses and stuff. Social engineering, basically. Okay, so we're using sublister. It seems like we're using sublister, so I'm just gonna use sublister and D. Okay, so let's see if this works. Seems like oh, it's because I was using. So let's say, for example, x.com. Cool. Interesting. So we have all the different paths, I'm assuming. Yeah, we're getting all the paths from sublister, and built with is just an extension of Appleizer. And okay,
Gathering some data here. It's captured some stuff from Firefox. We've got more Firefox. We can just click forward through this if we want. And now we can see Tesla starting to load. And what we're doing is we're intercepting requests that Tesla is making out. This to me looks like a API request or GeoIP request.
right. So this could be an API right here. Could be an API, and this could be this could be a path, some sort. Just call it verb read guide.
This might be geolocation, looking for a city. So we're just clicking through. All we're doing is capturing all different kinds of traffic, and we can modify this traffic. Say we have this request here. You don't have to know what this is right now, but we've got this GET request. We can make this a post request and forward that and see what happens. I'm just gonna turn the intercept off. I'm gonna show you what's going on here. So we can go over to the target, and you can see all the pages that have loaded in here. This is all the traffic that's been intercepted so far since we ran Tesla. So not only is Tesla running, but you can see that it pulls Google Analytics, it pulls this secured visit, which looks like tracking as well. It pulls DoubleClick, which looks like maybe ads, and then it has an API running here as well. So it's gathering all this traffic through, but we're gonna dig into this Tesla here. And I just wanna click on the first / and see if there's a response to our request. There isn't. Let's go ahead and just look at maybe the, let's see if we click into one of these, if we get a good response. We don't. Let's refresh one more time on the page, and you might even need to hit enter. Okay, and sometimes it doesn't come through right away, so let's go ahead and just click around. There we go. Do you see all this stuff coming through now? That's more like it. It wasn't picking everything up right away. So what we can do is we can look at some of the things that just came through. Like we just went to the Model 3 page. So let's go ahead and click on this Model 3 and see what it's got for us. So you can see that if we look at the request for this get Model 3, we made a get request to Model 3. And what's happened is we say, hey, I want to go out to this page. Go ahead and take me there. And then we can view the response as well. Now in the response, we can get so much information. Look at this. We're seeing here that PHP 7.3.7 is running on the back end. We can see a bunch of information here as well, like Drupal 8 is running. We identified that earlier, but we're identifying it again. We can see a lot of other stuff. There's some weird things here going on too, like there's a server name sitting in here. Typically on an assessment, this would actually be a finding, a low finding, but it's informational, as this is giving us information on possibly naming structure inside the network. But they also have
Cool.
have their own Tesla type header here. So this is very unique for a client. But what the point of the matter is here is that we can intercept a base.
You stop trading? Nah, bro. Matter of fact, I'm trading right now. This is just running. I just don't like stream as much, or like, talk about it as much, because I wanna like take some time to like really perfect my craft and sort of bring some real results to the table, and sort of talk about it eventually until when I have the proper results. At least if I can have like 100K funding, then I will talk about it. Until then, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna like, because it gets pretty tiring to sort of make videos and shit until like, if you don't have proof, like proof of concept, it's like it's no point even making videos in the first place. It's actually like pointless making videos at that point. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna
Basic
stop making content for now, and I'll get back on track as soon as everything's fine.
request and response.
Yeah.
0.0.1.
Because my strategy is actually pretty good, but it's just that I don't trade the NQ strategy though. That thing is like, I was at this much and now I'm out of drawdown because of these trades. But yeah, that's pretty much why.
On port.
So right now I'm
lot of
just
people-
learning cybersecurity, and eventually, I don't know, thinking of getting a job and doing trading on the side. I'm trying to automate this. I've been trying to automate my trading, but I don't think that's gonna be possible though. It's like pretty complex. Like you can get a script generated through Claude or any of these AI models, but it's a little more complicated than that because it always gives you a bunch of like junk code. It's never like gonna be like the same way you expect your strategy to play out. It's always gonna be like one off or one up, and like something's wrong. So yeah, let me see if I can quickly
Assistant.
digest this because I want to try this out. So let's say intercept on, and let me try something here. So if I turn on intercept, I'm in profit though, so that's pretty good. So all 3 trades are in profit. And I've risked like less amounts because I was in drawdown before, and now I'm out of drawdown because of these trades. So yeah, I think you've seen my strategy at this point. So I'm using like a 1 hour strategy, so I'm using like the 4 hour ranges and then the 1 hour to execute. Because that's pretty like it works out pretty well. What's going on? Okay, so I'm gonna try. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably. What's working? I'm gonna try. What's going on? I think it's bugged out. Has someone sort of hacked into my VM? I feel like someone's hacked into my VM. That's crazy. I'm trying to learn how to hack, and someone's hacking into my VM. Let me try something here. So if I can try, right? I don't know what all this is, but it seems to be stuck. Is my VM tripping? Let me try this. Yeah, something's wrong with my VM. Yeah, something's terribly wrong with my VM. Jesus Christ. What's wrong? Okay, that was weird. I have no idea what's wrong with this. All I know is everything that I was doing is gone. So, I mean, I have this, but it doesn't really do the same thing. So if I just do echo testing 103, I mean, it's obviously just gonna echo. If I add cluster.txt, so that's gonna append. And if I cat, that's obviously gonna append this, and yeah, pretty the basics of cyber. And I'm trying to like get into like the complex stuff, so it seems pretty fun. Because this file right here, like, it seems to have like some pretty cool stuff. I'm not gonna go through the code base, but it seems like we could like do some pretty cool stuff with this. If I can sort of next start work. I'm gonna try to like clone this repository. Okay. I should clone. Okay, so it's cloned over here. Where is it? Yeah, right here. So intercept turned on. And I'm gonna try something here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gonna install whatever this is. It's because let me just give it permission. Let me paste this here. Okay, there we go. So I think it was already installed, so compile. Okay. Well, it's because I'm not in the folder. Oh, what's going on? Okay, so if I can, okay, we're making some progress. Run the exploit. Oh no. Whatever this is. I'm not too sure what's happening right now, but using Apache version. So it's something related to like exploiting Apache stuff. So basically like SQL based like PHP based web applications and stuff. So I'm not too sure how this exactly works, but it seems like I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, but let's see. Because it's like my first few days trying this out. So if I can just do forexfactory.com, and now if I can forward this, there should be a few more requests coming in as I. Is it not working? So obviously I have this, and so I have this, and does not seem like we have a response back. Seems pretty slow for some reason. What if I try something like twitter.com? That should work, right? Doesn't seem like it's working. I'm gonna try something different. Because usually it's supposed to like redirect me to like the website, but for some reason when I turn on the intercept, it's like it's pretty slow. So if I forward this, I forward all of them. Boom. Okay, so we have one more request. Because obviously it's still loading, right? So nothing is like fully loaded up. For some reason it's like extremely slow. And this is moved permanently. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting anywhere with this, to be honest. So we have a 301, 302, which is not found. Or was it 302? Status codes. Status codes. Okay. Okay, cool. So it seems like there's like a bunch of different APIs. I don't know what all this means. There's like a bunch of different APIs here. Yeah, there's like a bunch of different APIs. So I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna use okay. Well, there's a bunch of different APIs that are used in this application. So obviously Twitter is using certain APIs, and all of them seem to be over here. Okay, cool. Anyways, seems like it's a lot of different API routes. So what I'm gonna do here is probably I'm gonna look for like an API route that's like okay. So I just got cool. So I have all these different API routes. Uh, possibly exploitable. I'm not too sure. I think this might be like a I don't think I can access that. Yeah, I could be able to access this one. No? Cool. I mean, we'll try to figure it out. I'm gonna get it off the back. Okay, there we go. So we have a full list of stuff. So we finally have the request and the response, obviously. So What's going on here? Services. Cool. Interesting. I'm trying to like figure things out as we go. Okay. Okay, so we have a bunch of different routes right here. So I'm assuming some of them are obviously APIs, some of them are directly linked with Twitter, right? So Nexus. Oh, Nexus, interesting. Hmm. Cool. Interesting. Anyways, um, okay. Seems pretty alright. Anyways, so pretty much, uh, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I'm just gonna end stream because I didn't really do much, to be honest. I just fucking clicked around. That's what I did. So that's all I did. So yeah, let's see. And map. So that's T4. So T4 is like, I think it was. So when cyber starts, I'm gonna be like cyber stuff. So that way I can just refer to cyber and I can get everything back. Cool. So we have Apache over here. So I can so if you know this service, then I think you can look for vulnerabilities in services like that, and then you can attack using those services, which is essentially the idea behind hacking, right? Open ports and services behind these ports. If you have a vulnerability, any of these services, you can approach them and try to exploit. That's what these are, like the sources. So obviously website sources itself can give you some idea. OWASP, the Buster will give you like an inside look as to what's happening within the infrastructure of the application. And
It's running SMB version 2.
server message SMB. Server message block protocol. Okay. So well, we have so you can intercept requests and stuff. So Burp Suite is right here, as you can see. If you have access to like the subpaths, then you can pretty much do a lot of different things. So exploit DB, so these are the commands. Assuming these are like exploits for different kind of stuff. Okay, so he's looking for different exploits, right? So if he's running exploits, interesting. Cool. SMB client. Okay, so SMB client I can use. SSH. SSH is one of those things where it's sort of like SSH. Where is it? Boom. The IP. Cool. Apart from that, we have. What else do we have? So we have Nessus, which is used for scans and stuff. So Netcat once again. So these are stage versus non-staged attacks. So non-stage has all the payload in stages once again. That's payload in stages, right? And can be less stable, but it's overall better. Sends exploit shell code all at once, so that's non-staged, right? So that's what stages payloads in stages was what stage means. Stage versus non-staged. So that stage just sends in stages. That's the point of it. Okay, got it. Right, okay. Search exploit. Okay. Let me try search. I think that might be part of. Cool. What does this do? Remote buffer overflow. Search exploit. Samba 2.2. Is it like, do I just type it in? Remote buffer overflow? Is that how this works? What? How do I use this thing? X. Okay, wait. Is it X? Okay, so I'm assuming X. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work, to be honest. It's pretty complex for some reason. I need to understand what's going on here. Okay, I need to learn this part. Search blight. Okay. Cool. This is an intruder attack. Okay. Intruder. Okay. So if I use, not too sure how this works. So I think I give it like a passwords list, and I import it. I'm assuming. Decisions. Okay. Okay. So this has something to do with this part. Okay. I'm gonna take notes of this.
And then on the second one, I'm going to take my list of passwords. A little slower. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause on the attack. Now, there are some interesting. This is a demo version of Intruder because you're on community. Don't worry about that. It still runs. So what we're going to do is just we start an attack. These are just the separated users and passwords. This will run this username against this password here. So what we're going to do is just we start an attack, and it just says, hey, this is a demo version of Intruder because you're on community. Don't worry about that. It still runs. It's just a little slower. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause on the attack. Now, there are some interesting things that we can look for when we're doing this. What we're looking for is a stat. So what's happening is going into the first one we set here.
Cool. Okay. Email test.
Payload set 2, all the passwords, those are all going into here. And we have 30 total counts.
Okay.
Meaning what's happening with this pitchfork is payload 1, number 1, is corresponding to payload 2, number 1. So they only run together. So this will run the username and password. These are just the separated users and passwords. This will run this username against this. Don't worry about that. It still runs.
I get it.
It's just a little slower. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause on the attack. Now, there are some interesting things that we can look for. When we're doing this, what we're looking for is a status code change of some sort. Maybe we see 200s here and we want like a 301, which means a redirect. Or we see a significant change in length. That would be a good indicator that maybe we had a successful login. Other items too is that we can click in 1, which means a redirect. Or we see a significant change in length. That would be a good indicator that maybe we had a successful login. Other items too is that we can click in here and look at the response. And we can say, okay, what did the response say? And if we scroll down, maybe it said something in here about fail login. Okay, we could not sign you in. And we could just take, we could not sign you in like this, copy this. And then we can come back, we'll close this attack. We'll come into options here. And there's actually a grep feature. So we can remove, we can clear all these in this little box. And we can just paste this and say, yes, match this here. So watch what this does. So we're going to start this attack again. And then I'm going to pause it. And you can know immediately, look at the checkboxes. This means it's showing up in the response. It's grepping it out. It knows immediately that we didn't sign in successfully. So this is an example of a credential stuffing checkboxes. And there's actually
That's fire. What?
sign you in like this. Copy this.
Copy.
Down. Maybe it said something in here about fail.
We could not sign you in. Okay. Could not sign you in.
This.
Okay. Options. Paste that.
And say, yes, match this here. So watch what this does. So we're going to start this attack again.
Fuck.
And then I'm going to pause it. And you can know immediately, look at the checkboxes. This means it's showing up in the response. It's grepping it out. It knows immediately that we didn't sign in successfully. So this is an example of a credential stuffing attack. So we're looking for the code. And if you remember, password spraying is, and then actually clear, sorry, or a few of these because you could lock them out without even trying. So if are lockout easy to do. So make sure you're not just firing these willy-nilly, that you have a good idea of the password policy, the lockout policy, etc. That'll really help you when you do these attacks. But you just want to do these kind of 1 or 2 at a time, wait a few hours, fire another 1 or 2 at a time, and you should be good to go. Okay, so same deal here. We could fire this and we could just say, I'll just say password 123, and we'll just switch this to sniper here. And if we come to the payloads, you can see it just got the emails. There is no payload 2 anymore. So what this would do if we hit start attack is it would start firing this against this email address with a password 123. And then this one. With this email address with the password of 123. It would just go down the list. And that's all password spraying is. But the feature that I'm showing you here between credential stuff.
Let me try something. Give me a second, guys. Well, I'm back.
Stuffing and password spraying is by far the most common way that we get in on external assessments. Way more than you're ever going to see just an exploit out in the wild, where you're going to see this most likely. And second, you're probably going to see something like default credentials. So if you see a login page, always check default credentials because you never know. You're likely not going to see an exploit out there because the chances are, one, is that if you see an exploit like that out there, who knows who else has seen that already? What kind of bad actors? Because bad actors are scanning the internet all the time for these sorts of things. And if they're seeing it, then guess what? If you're seeing it, then guess what? They're probably already seen it as well. So that's a bad situation. Two, you got to think of protection. And clients, just think of clients like a house. When you talk about the external of your house, your external, your doors have really good locks on them. You might have 2 locks on your door. You might have good lighting, all this other stuff, right? Like to try to keep bad guys out. But on the inside, some of your doors probably don't even lock. And that's really how you can treat an external assessment. The clients do a really good job of, buffing up their external. But when it comes to the internal, it's not usually as good. So same thing with physical assessments as well. You gotta get inside. Once you're inside, it's kind of easy breezy for the most part. So take that lesson away. If anything you take from the course, again, at least for the external side, take away that enumeration and information gathering is super important, because you want to get to the stage here where you are doing these credential stuffing attacks. And you can use burp suite for it. This is my favorite go-to. There's other methods as well, but it's so easy just to grab any different website and just, intercept the proxy, send it to an intruder, make one modification, and fire it off. So super, super simple. This is something that will come up in an interview as well, so make sure you're very aware of it, and make sure you watch this again if you need to understand the concepts. So from here, we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at our notes in the next video, just kind of where I want you to be with your notes. And then we're going to get into what I call that mid-course capstone, where I'm going to show you a bunch of different hacks and just my thought process and theories and thinking when I go into a scan and looking at results, and just so you can kind of get into the mind of an attacker and how we think. And then we'll start moving on to exploit development and my favorite, the Active Directory exploitation. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Password, but to see if the client catches us. So in this example, I'm just gonna say, hey, they didn't catch us. Here's an example of what we did. Also scanning in there as well. If you're not seeing a scan, that's something that we're gonna report back. So this would be typically a low finding. These would also be low findings. Anytime we get access to a machine, this is obviously a critical finding. So we just wanna keep note of, what kind of things we're finding, take good pictures, etc. So I'm hoping that you are getting the gist now of what your notes should look like. Again, make these your own, however it feels good to you. This is just how I kind of do it. I don't have to put a ton of information in there for me to remember, as long as I have my screenshots, which are most important because that's your proof that you were actually there and you did it. Otherwise, it's just he said, she said kind of thing. So that is it for this video. That is it for this section. Congratulations again for making it this far. Now we're gonna move into some of the fun stuff where we get to look at a bunch of different attacks and gradually just get a little bit more complex and learn some new things along the way. And I like to call this a capstone because we're capping off where how to download or capture the flag here. And I'm just gonna go up here and show you that. We'll get to setting like SMB client.
Okay, so it seems like in map,
do some enumeration. Maybe there's a null session we can connect to. Maybe there's a file or something. Target. So we're gonna take two different paths here. We're gonna look at it first in Metasploit, and then we're gonna take it from a manual path, and we're gonna see if this is indeed what we're after. So let's go ahead and just go to MSF console. And yours might look a little bit different than mine, depending on what version of Cal you're on, but the process should be the same. I'm on MSF5. So we're gonna go ahead and just search Eternal Blue. And I do know recently they combined all the Eternal Blues into one. So again, yours might be a little bit different than mine, but it should be the same process or concept. Now, the first thing we wanna do is we wanna look up this SMB scanner, right? We wanna do an auxiliary. Our auxiliary modules are gonna tell us what is there. It's gonna be a check. It's not gonna be so much an attack. It's more a scanning than anything else. There are some attacks in auxiliary modules, but they're not full on exploitation. So let's go ahead and just say use one. And we're gonna go options in here. And all it's gonna do for us is it's gonna come in here. We're gonna provide it with an archive.
okay, this is complex, so I need to copy. Okay, well, this is pretty cool. What in the world is this? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
By any means, this can tip over a server, so you want to be safe with these kinds of things. So with that said, I'm going to show you how to run this manually, but it's going to command shell method. We're going to go ahead and just do the regular command shell. We're going to generate a stage payload. Stage or stageless here should crash this machine. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to run this listener prep once this is all done. So it's doing this for us. We're going to go very, very bad. So it's good to see the other side of it. Again, get permission before running something like this, unless you know. Now we have a
that's fire
in here. Okay, that could be interesting. Now keep in mind, everything that we're doing in these machines is going to be very gamified, very CTF or capture the flag. And that's exactly what we're doing, is we're capturing the flag. So don't stress about this being incredibly realistic at this point. We're going to get into the more practical stuff as we get into the Active Directory pen testing section. We're really just trying to focus on some of the basic concepts and some of the things that you'll see if you go do any CTF events or you go on to any other certifications or anything like that. So this is a good introduction, kind of jump into the pool, maybe get your feet wet first into hacking. Go on to 0. Take a second, things here. So don't this could brute force as do they have it's important to hey, it works Apache 2W.
Okay, so let's for example, let's just say FTP and let's say I have in map top ports 1000, paste that. So I ran an attack and it seems to be open on MSR PC. So if I just do MSR PC exploit, whatever the fuck this is, I'm assuming I could do this with a port number, like let's say for example 135. Is that possible? I need like a file to send as well. So let's just say for example ls. Okay, so I can just send the buster test.txt. I think this should work. I'm not too sure though. So I'm just gonna make sure I log in. Gonna ask GPT. Let's see. No? Okay. Okay, cool. File transfer protocol, and if I can send this file. So you can just send this file across. That's pretty cool.
Did you see me scanning? Did you see me brute forcing? Did you see me running exploits? Did your antivirus pick me up? Where was I caught? Keep pushing forward and stuff. Immediately I found PHP my admin. The issue is I don't want to, etc. You can get there if for some anyway. Password of my very secure pass. That is of interest to us. And then backup.sh. Thank you, Alec, for creating this one. It means we're going to be using so there. Positions. We're in shell here. That will do this game through. Never gonna get tired. -n. Okay, .github.io. And we can do something like this. We can come in here and say, okay, we've got SUID. And then maybe we want to start looking through some of these, like maybe like, I don't know, mount, for example, if we can come through, see if mount's in here. Mount, what I'm looking right here, not there. This new GRP, not there. PHP is there, even though it's 7.3, PHP is there, so maybe we want to open that. Like switch
That's
user,
pretty cool.
SU, I don't see it in here. And you would just go through this list and say, okay, does anything on this list stand out as being a privilege escalation?
Okay, so if I just do... Alright, well... I don't think I can connect this. That's fine. Okay, well, so it seems like I'll stop the stream right here. There's a lot more to learn, obviously. So I'm gonna try a few hack the box type of stuff. Try to capture a few flags, see if I can do that, and sort of go off from here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for what I'm gonna do for now. I'm going to try and start the box, for example, if I try this. Okay, well, I don't think I can use that anymore, so fuck me, I guess. Yeah, and this does not work either, so that's a big bummer. Apart from that, I don't think this works either. Yep, that's not working either. But trading bot, I don't think this works either. Yeah, but there was one of these which does work. Was it this one? Okay, seems like there's a bunch of rubbish. Trading bot. Okay, it does not work. Doesn't seem like it's working either. So I need to fix this because it seems to be a big problem somewhere. And yeah, that's pretty much what I need to fix for now. Yeah, I stopped plotting the graph, so that's probably why it's not displaying it. So that's fine. Yeah, same problem. So it comes from the same spot. It's coming from the same spot. Trading bot. Better on this again. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for now. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours, and I would say it was a waste of time because I was learning something. So I guess it's decent. But I managed to get this, so I guess that's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Payload 1 and 2. Attack type is a sniper. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. And look into Nessus. Better understanding of the B client. Nikto is okay. Nikto, I've done I've gotten a few examples. So this is what Nikto does. So you can give it like a command. So for example, if I so it's using the file transfer protocol right now. But if I use Nikto, I'm just gonna say Nikto. And if I use Hetch, where is Hetch? So if I just do Nikto and then db check Hetch and forex factory, if I just do a db check, can I don't quite think that's correct, but I just do give it a Hetch flag. Did that work? Doesn't seem like it's working. Factory.com. Yeah, so we have the IP address and we have the target port. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I'm looking for right now. And as you can see, search exploit and emissive console, which is metasploit, and this is the trans to open set in the, I don't know what our hosts stand for, but what does set our hosts stand for? Okay. remote hosts. Okay. Host is remote. Cool. Well, that's pretty good. Wasp, Buster. That's fine. Katana. Katana is fine either. This doesn't seem to be used properly. IW config route trace route. I think trace route is part of Windows, isn't it? Trace, yeah, route is part of Linux. So if I do something like route xfactory.com, is that gonna ping? Okay, that's interesting. But derp should get me xfactory. I just do that should work. Oh, I think it's because okay, I get it. I think it's because of this derp and then you give it a path. Cool. Okay, so if I open this, right? Gedit. Okay, so if I just do cat, it's just gonna display what it took out, which is pretty interesting. And ssh admin no admin at warxfactory.com and if there's an user by this, then I'm pretty sure we should be able to. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm seeing right now. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. I think if I get the massive console chance to open, I hope it's Wasp Buster, so you can just sort of like find the URLs and stuff. Route secure shell. This is fine. Hydra. Once again, we can just log in to another device and you can send the files through the IP, right? Apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I think SMB protocol. So if I just do SMB client, SMB client. I don't know what's going on here. Bro, I swear to God, like it's just super like I don't know. SMB client. How am I supposed to use SMB client? Okay, SMB client L. Where's L? I guess it's this. It's capital L though. Interesting. Anyways, oh, there we go. List. Cool. If I do SMB client and list, and if I use a, let's say for example, if I use a IP address, for example this one, I need to, interesting. Let's say 2488, I don't know. What if I use like, I don't know, Cali? 123? No? Okay. Password? Cool. Man, this is annoying. Okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out. All good. All good. I need to just look into like ARP scans and stuff. ARP. ARP. ARP scans. Yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I think I'm fine for now. I should just figure things out. MSF console. Okay. payload 1 usernames and payload 2 is passwords for pitchfork attacks, and for what was that? For sniper attacks, it will take the payload full payload in one. So apart from that, we have staged and non-staged. So if it's staged, then it sends payloads in stages. If it's non-staged, it won't send payloads in stages. Simple as that. So you can look at exploits up for different services. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. This is the API, obviously, and this is the path within. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. NICTO, TCP was his transmission control protocol, and user datagram protocol. And yeah, these are the different switch addresses. So this is obviously these physical address. Physical address question mark? Oh, it's the MAC address, my bad. MAC address. And yeah, these are the ports. So it's obviously using SYN and ECK. I'm not too sure what SYN and ECK stand for. So SYN and ECK. So cyber layers. So I'm going to look for layers. And I'll say cyber layers. Okay, so I do have it under cyber. And I'm just gonna go back to the original spot where I found this. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. That's all I'm gonna do. Where is it? Cool. Okay. So, scaling. Okay, that's fine. What's this? NICTO. Okay, so this is all good. As far as cyber hack the box. So obviously this is a SQL injection right here. So yeah. So this is the SQL injection. Okay, cool. Okay, that's fire. Okay, so these are the layers that I need to study. So physical data. I need to study it in the way Cybermentor goes about it. 2 hours of this. That's pretty good. What's this? NS lookup. Oh, NS lookup. I don't think I include NS lookup in here. Type SOA Google. Okay. NS lookup. To be client. Routers and switches. And yeah, that's pretty much apart from that, yeah. So these are the usual today stuff. You know, I've been doing this for about 2 hours at this point, so that's pretty good. All right, cool. So I'm going to go to the commands. Now I will paste this command within this. Ain't it? Cool. So now if I can use NSLOOKUP within my stuff. Oh crap, NSLOOKUP. NSLOOKUP, and so type equals SOA google.com. Okay. Okay, what if I just do like NSLOOKUP? I'll just paste that. Okay, cool. You can just refer to this. Cool. Fire. That's fire. Anyways, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do for now. Yeah, so I need to cyber layers. So it's got cyber layers. Yep, this is all the stuff. Add in front. Yeah, it's fine. T4 is the speed of scanning. That's right. SYN and EC, TCP, UDP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. I'm not too sure OSI. So what does OSI stand for? OSI meaning networking. Okay. OSI is Open Systems Interconnection Model. Open Systems Interconnection Model. Open Systems Interconnection Model. Okay. Open Systems Interconnection. So it's Open Systems Interconnection. Okay. Open Systems Interconnection. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. And cool. Open Systems Interconnection. Open Systems Interconnection. Apart from that, we have a lot of trading stuff. And blockchain development related stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I think I'm just going to sort of try and understand. Obviously, it's a pretty vast field. Maybe do a few certificates on this and try to get this hang and flow going. Cool. Interesting. That's fire. So what the fuck? Okay. Anyways, that's pretty much where I'm going to end this stream as far as the trades go. Let's see how the trades are doing. Seems like my computer's pretty slow right now. Okay, so we're 21 up, 6 on this, and 5 down. Okay, all good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this test account as well. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna end this stream. So yeah. Cool. I'm going to end this stream here. I've been streaming for about 2 hours. If anyone showed up, thank you so much. And SYN-EC, SYN-MP. So these are like the ports, right? So obviously, like, depending on what's open, you can use that to sort of attack, because you see the services and stuff. So if I just do any of that, ports 1000 works, 6.com. If I do that, I'm pretty sure I should be able to get the ports for x.com, which is Twitter. So yeah, that's pretty much, these are the timing options, as you guys can see. So these are, so SMTP, so this is HTTPS, and this is the usual. This is SMTP on port 25. So SMTP exploit, I can just look for SMTP exploits. Cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. FFUF, fuzzing a URL, okay. Don't need that. Web services security, okay. Okay, so we look for exploits and we try to, you know, get in just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We have open ports and say, for example, switches, right? Switches, so a switch based on MAC address. So switches, routers, route based on IP address, and switches based on MAC address, isn't it? So local area network, so the LAN is local area network, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's all. So these are the payloads for sniper and pitchfork attacks. Pitchfork requires payload 1 and payload 2, so that's the usernames and the passwords. And sniper attacks usually require key value pairs. Apart from that, we have what? This is trading stuff. So it's a cyber, and so yeah, these are the derp IP does. Okay. Cyber layers. Getting hands on with CM tools. Okay. Hack the box. Yeah, these are beginner. Pretty sure I went through this.
What's up, everybody? So I am bringing to you a
Cool. Is he alright? Okay. He's got the Sri Lankan
video that has been
Sri Lankan line secret lab chair.
That we ran close to a year ago now, that a lot of you are saying, hey, can you remaster that? Can you take out the Q&A and kind of the chatty with the Twitch and just kind of make it more content, like we did with Zero Hero, where it's definitely live stream, there's definitely some live interaction, but it's more defined, it's compact, and it's just full of knowledge, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I am bringing to you, without further ado, the web app live stream series that we did, and this is geared towards beginners. If you've never done anything with web app, this is for you. So beginner web app pen testing 101. So go ahead and let's watch it together. here we go. Welcome to week 1. Sorry for the 1 minute of technical difficulty there. So week 1, we're going to be covering Burp Suite. I will also be covering Burp Suite Pro. You do not have to have Burp Suite Pro. There are just some features that I want to show you about Burp Suite Pro that make it really nice. And I am a big fan of it. So I got to show it, And if there's one tool that I recommend people purchase, especially if like you're trying to get into bug bounty hunting or doing web apps, $400 for Burp Suite Pro is 100% worth it. So on top of that, Nikto, Dirtbuster, Curl, Sublister, Nmap. There's so many web app tools that we can use. So we're going to be covering some of those, looking into those, okay? On top of this, we're going to be covering the OWASP top 10, every single item in the top 10, and some others. So we're going to take a look at what we're going to be doing here in a minute. I've got quite a few things for us on the agenda, so we'll take a look. Lastly, we're going to cover some important documents. We'll talk about resources, career advice, etc. So again, if you missed it in the beginning, we are talking first, we'll do the course. Tonight's going to take an hour to maybe an hour and a half, and then we'll do AMA afterwards. So we'll do AMA of anywhere from I'm trying to get out of here at 10 tonight, but I will push it later if we need to. My wife leaves tomorrow, so I kind of want to spend some quality time with her. But typically sometimes we go all the way to midnight. So these streams can sometimes last 4 hours. The lessons anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours typically. So a good chunk of AMA if you enjoy that. So special note at the bottom, this is pro, and this is it. It's on YouTube. So please do help each other here. Do something new like cross-site scripting. I'll have information about what it is, why it's vulnerable, detail that we have to go through. So subdomains, you can use a tool called Dig. Nmap can find subdomains. Sublister is my go-to. This is my favorite. There's a tool out there called Bluto, which has kind of been iffy for me lately. And srt.sh is pretty good as well, etc. We'll talk about why we're after subdomains, but importantly, what it is say you have google.com. Okay, and then you're looking for interesting subdomains because maybe we don't want to stop at google.com. What if there's a dev.google.com or test.google.com? Maybe there's something that they put out there that was just for a dev environment or an admin environment or something that they were trying to not have publicly available. They left kind of vulnerable, and we can find that and maybe leverage those attacks. So somebody asked if Nmap is active scanning. Yes, Nmap is active scanning. Nmap, in terms of this situation, is active. This is correct. Google Foo is not. Dig is not. Sublister is not. Cert.sh is not. Okay? Nmap is. So good call on that. Fingerprinting. So this is where we start to kind of get into the active-ish area. Nmap can do fingerprinting. A tool called Wappalizer is very nice and can do fingerprinting. WetWeb does fingerprinting as well. BuiltWith is a website that we can use to do fingerprinting, and Netcat can actually be used to do fingerprinting as well. So some of these are active, some of these are passive. Wappalizer and Nmap are active. WetWeb is active. BuiltWith is passive, and Netcat is active. So BuiltWith would be the passive here. Lastly, data breaches. Have I been pwned or similar list? This is one of the best areas, especially if you're doing network pen testing, but it still holds true for web apps as well. Looking through breach data lists and looking at some cool tools that are out there to use. So let's take a look and just look at some of these tools. First things first, I'm going to open this up. Now, the first tool I want to show you is going to be Sublister, and then we'll take this a little further. So if you Google Sublister, and it's already in my search history, but you Google it like this, Sublister, with a 3 as an E. Install my tabs. We'll just use my main pen test. -G for the domain. We'll try iRobot.com. The percent is a wildcard. And we do search. Okay. Nothing came up because I typed in iRobot incorrectly. iRobot. There you go.
Cool.
You do not have to provide API keys for Sublister. It's fantastic. Okay, so you see a lot of overwhelming information that comes through here. This is great. Look at all these. robopro.irobot.com. Educate, education, edu, robopro. trp-vpn.irobot.com. That's interesting. Active Directory, Federation Services, testenvironment.irobot.com. vpn.irobot.com. Autodiscover, Legacy, Webmail. These are all very interesting subdomains. Meraki, MyJira. So not only are we pulling off information here about what type of subdomains they have, we're finding information about their internal network a little bit, right? Look, they've got Active Directory running. Okay, they've got Autodiscover, which tells me they've got some kind of exchange environment. You come down and you see that they've got a Meraki in their network. They're using Jira, MyCitrix test. Okay, they're using Citrix. So they're using Slack. Look, slack.irobot.com. Single sign-on down here. So we find a lot of information. Zoom, AWS, GitHub. So this is just getting juicier and juicier, right? We're not going to attack any of these, by the way. So don't get your hopes up. But just know that they're interesting. Now this is going to take a little bit. There you
iRobot.com. Cyber subdomains. Cool. Interesting. That's fire. So interception, yep, that's normal. You find the.
Show you guys that. If we just right click and add to scope, and then we'll say yes. And what we can do is we can just show only the in scope items, and look what happens. It takes the rest of it away. Okay. And then, so what else we can do? Tampering. Missing. This is just crawl it. All fun, useful information. There are a lot of other tools that we could use to help identify a website. Like let's go back to iRobot. And if you see this tool I have right here, this is called Wappalizer. They don't care. This is I find who I know is him, and I do this usually by unique.io. So let's say that we're searching for iRobot.com. That's weird. Screen. The server to get this is only for a lot of things that maybe we don't. Login, a beginning scanner. So everything can sign up. You can see which ones are pro, but it's going to miss things. Yes, it will pick things up, and it will. So remember, we set up the. If we come through here, we see a few interesting files just looking at it, right?
Well,
Again, we still haven't scanned for anything, so we won't have a lot of issues with the web app itself. But we can see that, okay, there's a cookie that's coming through and it's not being set with a secure flag. We'll talk about why the secure flag is important. So we're looking. I already found the confidential document, but let's go ahead and just prove concept. There's, guys. Teach yourself. Middle name, we'll just say Bob. Document I want to. I didn't fix it out. If you're reading, right? Somebody said two types of. Go into one. If you see like the www.whatever.com hash here, will be infected with what we're going to do. So Snort is very, very, very dangerous. These other ones are a little harder to exploit because they involve some sort of social engineering aspect to them. Okay, let me take a drink of my claw, guys. If we were to close this out and come back, then we get the cross-site scripting. You got to practice. Log in. And one of the we actually put it through. And so we talked about the header being seen in clear text, meaning that if you're using HTTPS, somebody cannot strip that HTTPS. Going to overwhelm you. If you've never seen SQL before, this is a good start. So tonight are the easy challenges, right? Before they were trivial, tonight they're easy. We're going to cover scoreboard. If your scoreboard reset, which mine did, yours might to work. Alert the cross-site scripting. Well, you might be able to come through the same very basic interface. That was now first statement. This is very common. Admin. Admin at juice.sh.op. Another way to find that is just slide up. Okay, what stands out more than anything here? A week ago, there it is. One conditional statement.
Okay, I'll do this later, to be honest.
And
I'm kind of bored. Because I feel like I should just do this like sometime later. I'm actually focusing on this.
Frame SRC, and now we're trying to exploit this. Now, so what? So this get thing. Here's our element. We've got an entity. Just so you. And we'll go over. Oh, what? It would be helpful. It would be helpful if I was actually running. Please go watch this video. File, etc. So and take a look at the commands down below if you guys are curious. But there's several commands down below if you guys have any questions. FAQ.
You will lie.
Them did not feel Python. So as well. But all right. Thank you, Sasquatch. Thanks both. And then we'll talk a little sensitive data exposure, a little bit of the random challenges. I've run a couple of different pen test methodologies that I would typically run against this, especially with SQL injection. I'll show you guys what it looks like. And it's very interesting to see what manual injection looks like versus something like a SQL map or something like Burp Suite, because you're going to see that there's quite a bit of difference. So on top of that, my thoughts for tonight. I think that tonight's going to be a quick stream. I don't believe it's going to take us very long to get through, maybe 40 minutes to. Let's talk about SQL injection. So these slides should look very, very familiar to you. So what is SQL injection? Again, SQL injection is an attack where we can inject malicious SQL statements. Some of these are kind of logic based, right? So this over here, accept the proxy, which look at here is a little bit of injection. And now we've done some injection already in previous episodes. And injection can be as simple as just putting in something like that, a single quote, sending it, and seeing what happens, right? And nothing really happens here. So that's okay. We can also target. So if we target here on test, you can see we send it, pulls back, and then we send again, and that's still successful. So what if we close off the command? Aha! So either way, you do it on both. I've had it saved, but if you do it here, and we actually close off our statement, you can see we get a SQL error. So what's happening here? Well, you see that the syntax just threw an error for us. So if we look down, now if we were to view this, if we were to actually inject this on the browser itself, wouldn't be as pretty. You would probably just see an error message. But here we're actually seeing this junk here. So this is junk here, or just so you guys in here. And then I'm going to delete that. I'm going to come into the parameters, and then I'm just going to paste it here.
Cool.
And watch what happens. So we go to raw. You see that it's now adding the %20s for you. Just a quicker way to do %20s, spaces encoded. So we send this over now. You see that we get a SQL error of 1, 2, 3. There's a syntax error. Okay, so maybe I don't need. Let's see. Maybe I don't need this. Let's take out 1, 2, 3. Let's make it like X. Okay. So I didn't like the numbers, but like look at this. You see there says no table X, no such table X. That's a different error than we were getting. We were getting a syntax error before. And the nice thing is we're not blind here, right? We get to see what we're putting in. So you see that we're doing a wildcard here, doing a union select from, doing a statement, and it's grabbing 1, 2, 3, 4. So over something like this. Other we do sleep for security Easter egg. Since we're in here, we can do that really quick. All right. But
I need to go through this again. But apart from that, yep, the usual. So now, I just need to go through this, and I also need to go through the notes and stuff. If I can find crt.sh. Try this. See if it works. Web been pwned. Day 2 data breaches. That's crazy. What about this has been pawned? That's crazy. What? What's crazy? I was in this website? No, it's crazy. What? These are fire though. These skins and stuff. Yeah, these are fire. I would buy this. 100%. PS5 controller? Let's see. Wow. Okay, this is fire. This is such a great business idea. But I'm pretty sure it's difficult. That's why most people are not doing it. Yeah, this is fire. $14. It's not even expensive. I mean, if you were living there, I feel like it's pretty cheap. And you know, fucking I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This reminds me of my first controller, PS4 controller. That shit was like exactly this camo. Good times. My first controller was like that camo. The 2019, I remember that. 2019 April. I remember that exactly. 5 years back. That was 6 years back. That's crazy, bro. 2019 was 6 years ago. Wow. That I don't even know what to say. 2020 itself was 5 years ago. 2019 was 6 years back. Wow. I'm actually pretty like surprised that it was 6 years ago. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up today and probably call my friend in it. Call this man, see if he picks up. Maybe chat for a bit and watch a few videos and go to sleep. 31st? Fuck this. 23C. Fuck this bullshit. Cyber. 23C. Up, he's not picking up, so I'm just gonna get to go, chill and then go to sleep right after.